Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 1-2. So today we are going to start talking about place value patterns. You know, yesterday, our lesson 1-1, we started to really talk about the place values. We started to talk about on our dot array, that big piece of paper that had all the different dots on it. We talked about ways to fill in that dot array to see the value of each of the numbers, the place value, where it belongs. We know that if I were to zoom in on the dot array, every dot that I circle has the value of 1. Every line that you see has the value of 10. Every square that we make, because a square is actually 10 lines, that equals 100. And on this sheet I can't do it because I don't have 1,000 on it, but if I were to show you just by drawing it, that long rectangle that's standing on its side is considered 1,000. So if we were to talk about place value just from drawings, you don't even need to look at everything on the inside of it right here, inside of it right here. What I would do is I would draw lines, and obviously I'm drawing on the iPad, so it's not the straightest lines in the world, but these would represent thousands. Any squares I have would represent the hundreds. Any lines that I make, I should probably bring that up a little bit because really the lines won't go any further than the square does. So all these lines represent 10, then any little circles I have represent 1. So by looking at this drawing I made here, you should know that you have 2,233. I'm not sure why I decided to put a comma in there because that is not correct. But the number here is 2,233. Okay, another way to look at this number is to take 2,000, take the 200, take the 30, and take the 3. Because that's really what it is. That is 2,000 dots in here. There's 2,000 little dots in here. Okay? In these two squares, there's 200 little dots. And in each of these lines, there's 10 dots. So we have 30 dots there. Then here's 3 dots all by themselves. So when you see a number like this, and you're able to think about place value, and you see this number right here, you're like, I don't get it. What is this number? You basically are just adding it all together. Or if you're able to see it the right way, you can almost see it without all these zeros and the numbers actually going down like that. If you're able to see it like that, you'll come up with this number, 2,233. So in today's lesson, you'll be using your whole number secret code cards. It's what we would have cut out earlier today. So what you're going to want to do with the whole number secret code cards is you're going to try to come up with numbers using different place values. You may grab the card that says 2,000. You may grab the card that says 800. You might grab the card that says 20, and then the card that says 9. Okay, if you do that, you just put them all together. You go 2,000, you do the 800, you do the 20, and you do the 9. Remember, what you could do is you could kind of scribble out, ignore all that, all those zeros, and just make it 2,829. But I don't want you to think that every time you see zeros, you just erase all the zeros. Because if you had 2,000, and say you had no thousands here, okay, so you've had no thousands, and then you just had 80 and 2, if you scribbled all this out, you would think, oh, it's 2,000 or 282. But really what you're scribbling out is you're taking off the zeros in each of the numbers. Let me start over and show it to you with a more of a clean slate here. But 2,000, I'm going to leave this one here for you just because I want to go back to that. So if you had 2,000 with 80 and 2, you would notice that if you erase zeros, you'd have to erase them at an angle. Okay? All those zeros get erased. There's only one. All these zeros can get erased. There's 2. Now if you look at this row, you can't erase it because they're not all zeros. Notice there's an 8 and there's a 2. So you can scribble out all these, but you cannot erase the next 0. 2, 0, 8, 2. So what you're doing here is you're going back to the original way of doing it. You're just adding them. 2, you have the 8, and then this 0 falls down here by itself because there was no way to erase it. We had no hundreds. Because if you look at this, you'll see we have, I'm going to write up here again, we have 2 thousands, then we have 8 tens, and then we have 2 ones. Normally there'd be, in this area, would be hundreds. Okay, we don't have any hundreds. So by looking at our final number, let me bring the 2 down here and put the comma, looking at our final number, it tells you right here you have 0 100s. And we know that because if you look in here through all this mess, we do not have 100 in here where the 100 would normally go. So you have to remember that when you skip a place value, I mean, you're not really skipping it, but when you're showing it like this, you're kind of skipping it. When you skip a place value, you have to make sure that you still represent it with a 0 in the number, as we did here, 2082. So right now I'm going to clear this board here, and this is just a quick refresher of place value. Everyone sees place value differently than other people. So I'm going to clear this, what we have on here so far, so I'm going to, hold on a second. So what I want you to do now is turn to page 8 in your student, sorry, I'm always forgetting the name of these, your student book, your student activity book. And we're talking about 3 types of numbers. The number's always the same, but there's definitions for different numbers. Standard form. Standard, whenever I hear standard, I always think of normal. Okay? So standard form is just normal, as you can tell on page 8. Standard form is just how you would see a number, how the easiest way to look at a number, the easiest way to write a number, how you would see it. Like if I were to write a math problem on the board, I would most likely 85% of the time write it in standard form. The next is word form. Word is exactly what you think it is. Words. You're turning numbers, you're turning digits into words. So when you say the word 100, you're going to spell it out 100. Okay, that's word form. And then expanded form is very similar to what we just learned earlier in the lesson. Expanded form is when you take each place value and you pull them apart. You take them out. So on page 8, you will see, let me get rid of this real quick. You will see a number, 8,562. Okay? Standard form is, like it says, 8,562. Word form is 8,562. Exactly what you're saying. Every word that comes out of your mouth, you write it. Expanded form is 8,000, the 560, and a 2. Because remember we went over this earlier. 8,000, in this case we do have a hundreds place, 560, and 2. And you can just kind of go down, almost like it's bowling at an angle. Get rid of the zeros, or you can just add it down and see you have 8,562. So I'm going to get rid of that. Alright, so you're going to read and write each number in expanded form. I know here we talked about standard form first, and now they're asking for expanded form, basically because all these are in standard form. So you're going to write these numbers in expanded form. If you look at 73, it's going to tell you we have 7 tens, which is 70, plus 3 ones. Okay? Easy enough. I'll do the second one with you. Here we have 100 plus, you don't need to put 0 tens in because you wouldn't say 0 tens. You would just say 100 plus 8. Okay? 8 ones. So you don't need to put the tens in. I'm going to do number 3 with you, then I want you to do 4, 5, and 6 on your own. Number 3, if you look at it, we have 5,000 plus we have a 6 in the hundreds place, plus we have 2 in the tens place, and then we have 1 in the ones place. Notice when I say 5 in the thousands place, what I'm saying is we have 5 1,000s. Add them up together in your head quickly, it's 5,000. Here we have 6 hundreds, it's 6 100s, so you'll have 600, that's the value. The next one's the 2, you have 2 tens, so it's 20, that's the value of it, and then a 1 in the ones. I want you to pause it and do number 4, 5, and 6 on your own. Alright, hopefully you got all of the answers correctly. 4,350 is 4,000 plus 300 plus 50. Here, 8,000 plus 80 plus 3. Don't be tricked with this 0, 100. Don't put 0, 0, 0, 0 in there. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's no reason to do that. It tells you there's 0 there, so there's nothing there. Number 6 is 1,000 plus 6. There's no tens and there's no hundreds. So just skip them. Next part is write each number in standard form. Standard form is how you would normally see it. This is really easy. You're just basically adding everything. 40 plus 3 is 43. 200 plus 60 plus 1 is 261. I want to go to one that skips some place values, which this does right here. We have 905. Okay? We have 900 with 0 tens, 5 ones. Notice that number. There are no tens in there. Next one, number 10, we have 1,000. We have 0 100s, because notice a 100 would be there. And then we have 7 tens, 9 ones. I want you to try to do the other two on your own. Alright, so hopefully you came up with 5,030 and 9,804. Here we have 5,000, we have 0 100s, 0 10, I'm sorry, 0 100s and 0 ones. So it would be 5,000, 0 100s, 3 tens, 0 ones. Next one, 9,804. We have 9 1,000s. We have 8 100s. Notice there are 0 tens because the tens would normally be right about there. Then we have 4 ones. Alright, so we're going to continue. I want you to continue working on these next few on your own. If it says to write it in number form, you would write out number form. And then down at the bottom, I want you to take a look at the value of each of the underlined digits. I'm going to do the first one for you. The 5 is underlined. So it's a 5 in the tens place. So the value is 50. The value is not 5 because it's a 5 in a tens place. Think about money. If I gave you 2 $1 bills, it's 200. But if I gave you 2 $100 bills, if I gave you 2 $1 bills, you'd have $2. And if I gave you 2 $100 bills, you'll have $200. Think of the value of those two. Way different. Okay, I'd rather have $200 than I would $2. So work on the next 3 on your own, or the rest of the page on your own, and we'll talk about it in small group.